The 3-hour All-Star game saw 42 minutes of actual basketball. The NBA subreddit broke down how this worked itself out. The intro with commercials was 30 minutes long. There was a pregame conversation on the court that was 10 minutes long. Game 1 was 12 minutes total, 10 minutes and 0 seconds of actual game time. Then Mr. Beast giving away $100,000 to somebody if they could hit it one shot before Damian Lillard hit 3. And by the way, Damian Lillard, no chance Damian Lillard was going to hit the third shot. He was just going to start probably chucking the ball into the third row because you're not going to be that guy that stops somebody from winning $100,000. That took 5 minutes. Game 2 was 16 minutes total, 12 minutes and 54 seconds of actual game time. Then there was a 6-minute musical performance. There was a 9-minute Inside the NBA tribute. And then game 3 was 14 minutes total, 10 minutes and 40 seconds of actual game time, 6 minutes of a postgame, and 22 minutes of analyst desk game intro segments, in total 22 minutes. The ads were a total of 80 minutes. There were 42 minutes of actual basketball in a 3-hour All-Star game. Again, I don't know who signed off on that being the format of having all of those breaks, having all of those performances, having the tribute. I get wanting to do the tribute, and I really have no issue with it on the surface. But a 3-hour block of time that I sat aside last night, I saw 42 minutes of basketball that wasn't even good basketball. Wasn't even high-quality basketball. So hopefully there's some debrief meetings going around the NBA offices today or the rest of this week after what we saw last weekend. If this Sun season is going to go south, if it's going to turn sour, we'll talk a little bit in hour number 2 of the program of this being probably the week where we'll learn if it's going to go south or turn sour, because it might do so in a hurry this week. If it is, then it means this summer will be one of the most important in Phoenix Suns history, because it will mean the breakup between the Phoenix Suns and Kevin Durant. It will mean, I don't know how serious, but it will mean the idea will be brought up of trading Devin Booker. There will be huge, massive, franchise-altering ramifications to the decisions that get made this summer for the Phoenix Suns. When this season is over, if they miss the playoffs, if they're not a play-in team, if they're below 500, it's going to be a failure, and you are not just going to run it back. You might be getting a new head coach. You're trading Kevin Durant. You might be trading Devin Booker. You might be making huge changes to this team. That's what happens if this goes south. That's what happens if this team doesn't make a play-in tournament, doesn't win in the play-in tournament, doesn't win in the first round, upsets a Oklahoma City or a Memphis or one of the top seeds that they might draw in the first round. Everything's going to be different. The 2025-26 Phoenix Suns are going to be so different from the roster that we see right now if things progress the way they have been progressing so far this season. So you need to trust and believe in the person that is going to oversee an offseason of that magnitude. You get one shot at making this right. You get one chance to set yourself up well for the future. You can only trade a player of Kevin Durant's stature one time. You don't get a mulligan. You don't get a redo. If you are going to rip this Band-Aid clean off this summer and you are going to trade Kevin Durant, it has to be the perfect return. It has to be the right amount of draft picks. It has to be the right type of young assets and players to bring in here to help speed this rebuild up. There is nothing about the current setup for the Suns that tell me they want to go down the path of the long, drawn-out Philadelphia 76ers era rebuild. Nothing of what we've seen so far from Matt Ishbia tells me there's an appetite for that. They might not have a choice to change things, but I don't think there's an appetite for the full-blown teardown. So if you aren't interested in the full-blown teardown, if you aren't interested in everything that isn't bolted to the foundation of the house being removed, then you have one chance to get this right. You have one trade chip that helps you get yourself on solid footing for the next iteration, the next era of Phoenix Suns basketball. That's it. You get one swing at this. There's no mulligan that you get afterwards. If you mess up the Kevin Durant trade, you then have the option of trading Devin Booker. You know Bradley Beal's not going anywhere for the remainder of his deal. And if I think there's going to be resistance like I do to the idea of trading Devin Booker, and it's really going to be Kevin Durant out the door, one chance, one shot, one opportunity. What's that Eminem song? You have one chance to get this right. One chance to get the haul back that maybe only 2 or 3 years down the road, you are back in the mix for a top 6 spot in the Western Conference. So with that being said, why should James Jones be entrusted to make those decisions? Why should it be James Jones that gets to take a swing at trading Kevin Durant when it is his original decision-making that sees the Phoenix Suns in their current situation? James Jones oversaw Kevin Durant coming here. He oversaw Bradley Beal getting traded for. He oversaw, more importantly, if you want to play devil's advocate, and if you want to be James Jones's surrogate here and speak for him, and you want to say, listen, a Kevin Durant trade, a Bradley Beal trade, those are high-level, ownership-level decisions. Kevin Durant was traded for on Matt Ishbia's first day on the job. That comes from way above James Jones's status in the front office or his pay grade. Bradley Beal, that is a decision that emanates from the top. Fine. This past offseason, is Tyus Jones a decision that James Jones has his hand in? I would say yes. He has a hand in that decision. He has a hand in the role players, in the bench. He has a hand in picking out the coach that is going to be brought in here. He has a say in those decisions. And we are wondering if they made the right decision at coach. We've told you that it's time to end the Tyus Jones experiment. That's done. There needs to be a new point guard on Thursday in the starting lineup when they take on San Antonio. But I'm not going to hold my breath. I'll believe that when I see it on Thursday. I can't view what is going to be one of the more consequential and important off seasons in Phoenix Suns history and say that I'm excited to see that chapter through when the same people that oversaw the decisions that have led us into this pit are going to be the same people that are overseeing the way out of this pit. James Jones oversaw this mess. Why should he be given the keys to drive out of it? And if you want to say that it's not all James Jones, then we have a bigger philosophical question that needs to be asked and only answered through actions that we'll see in the summer. Do you trust Matt Ishbia? Do you trust ownership to get this right? Because if you want to tell me that it doesn't matter who's the president of basketball ops, that everything emanates from Matt Ishbia's office, I think I'm more concerned. I think I'm more worried. And mainly because and we started to see it at the deadline, but part of me feels like they stumbled into it, that they accidentally made the right decision. We said this a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if I trust them to make the right decisions right now. I don't know if I trust them to maximize the asset that would be Kevin Durant if they choose to move on from him in the summer. And we are barreling down towards moving on from him in the summer. So it's going to take actions, not words. It's going to take us living through this retool in the summer. But as we barrel closer and closer to it, with each of the 28 games that comes off the calendar, that gets removed from play, we move closer and closer to a true inflection point. Has this Suns front office learned from its past mistakes, or are they doomed to repeat their history? Are they doomed to fall into the same pitfalls that they did when putting this iteration of the team together? And the worst part is, I don't know. But what I do know is I don't think I want to see James Jones oversee this. I don't want to see the guy that's been the president of basketball operations for the last couple of years that has seen us into this mess be the person that gets the opportunity to see the team out of it. I don't think he's earned that opportunity. I don't think he's the right person for that opportunity. His decision-making up until this point, questionable at best. Is Ryan Dunn a nice draft pick? Absolutely. Was Oso a nice developmental pick? Absolutely. Credit where credit is due. It's not all negative. There are some positives. But big picture here, we're talking big picture, franchise-altering stuff. The franchise-altering moves that this team has made in the past, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, the coaching decisions, trading DeAndre Ayton, all of that stuff, we would grade it out as an F. We would grade it out as shouldn't get another chance down the road.